Hi, I'm Vareen, a curious explorer of the intricate landscape of the human mind and behaviors, and you're now listening to the Ink Thoughts podcast, where I unravel the mysteries behind the incongruous thoughts that pepper our everyday existence. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ink Thoughts podcast. So, hope everyone has been doing well, and so today we're going to tackle a topic that I believe everyone can relate at some point in their lives, when everything goes against you. We've all been there. Those days, weeks, or even months when it feels like the universe has decided to test you in every possible way. Your plans fall apart, unexpected problems arise, and no matter what you do, it seems like nothing goes right. It can be overwhelming, frustrating, and downright disheartening. But here's the thing, you're not alone, and there are ways to navigate through these tough times. Let's start by acknowledging the emotions that come with feeling like everything is going against you. It's natural that you feel stressed, anxious, or even angry. Allow yourself to feel these emotions without judgment. Bottling up or pretending they don't exist can only make things worse in the long run. And the more you resist them, the more they're gonna be there. Once you acknowledge how you feel, the next step is to shape your mindset. Easier said than done, right? I understand. But it is crucial. Instead of focusing on everything that's going wrong, try to identify what you can control. This doesn't mean ignoring the problems, but rather finding small areas where you can take action. One effective way to do is by breaking down the overwhelming situation into smaller, manageable tasks. But before we do that, one thing that I think most of us always ignore is to first regulate and validate our feelings and emotions, or even just let us sit with that for a little while for it to go off naturally. Why is this important? Most of the time, we tend to want to problem solve the earliest possible. Of course, it is a good skill and good mindset to have, but we then tend to push away our feelings, and then they get bottled up without us realizing it, which could be harmful in the long run. And believe it or not, sometimes when you give yourself that little space and time, you can actually feel a lot better and more motivated and energetic to fight off whatever you're facing in that moment afterwards. For example, recently a lot of stuff haven't been at its greatest in every aspect of my life, which is also the reason that inspired me to talk about it today. I have to admit that there were definitely times that I felt really demotivated, really down, don't feel like doing anything, and I feel like, what else can I do? I remember there was this one day when I was at work. I received a bad news about one of my cousins who unfortunately passed away. Receiving a sudden bad news, on top of all the negative things that I've been experiencing, literally made me feel like my brain is gonna burst anytime now. I knew I needed that space and time. I told my colleague that I'll go out for a walk, a short walk. I went out, decided to grab myself a cold drink, and sat there for a little while. I wasn't even thinking about anything at all when I sat there. But the act of letting myself to go out and get some fresh air, giving myself a little space and time to let things pass itself, was so helpful. After about 20 to 30 minutes, I can feel myself very differently. I knew at that point I would be able to go back and face all the other stuff now. So now, after letting yourself sit with your feelings for a little while, it's time to tackle your problems. When you look at the big picture, it might seem so huge. But if you can tackle one thing at a time, you can start to regain a sense of control. Make a list of what needs to be done and prioritize it. Focus on completing one task before moving on to the next. A lot of the time, we are lazy in writing things down, but the fact of doing it physically, just write down whatever that you think you need to do in that moment, actually helps you to to take them off your mind. Try it. Another key strategy is to practice self-care. When everything seems to be going against you, it's easy to neglect your own well-being. Make sure you're getting enough rest, eating well, and taking time for activities that bring you joy. Exercise, meditation, or simply spending time with your loved ones, friends, can provide much needed relief and help you recharge. Recently, I do notice that spending some time talking with my colleagues just about random stuff when taking breaks in between work was so helpful. Yeah, just some random stuff that you can laugh together at, or just sharing some thoughts or some interesting things that any of you had just experienced maybe over the weekend or in the past week. Yeah, it was actually very relieving. Yeah. And oh yeah, then this leads to the next point, which is important to reach out for support. Talk to your friends, family, or even a therapist if you need professional help about what you're going through. One of the common responses that I've gotten a lot from my patients, for those of you who have no context of what I'm doing, I'm actually working in a child and adolescent psychiatric hospital as a healthcare assistant. And so yeah, I had a lot of time to talk to our patients, and one of the common responses that they usually gave is, talking doesn't help, I don't want to talk. But you might find them wanting to talk to you after some time. Yeah. And well, sometimes it's understandable, like talking about it probably wouldn't help, but the thing is, just sharing your struggles with someone who cares can lighten the emotional load. Then people that you're talking to might even be able to offer a new perspective or solutions that you hadn't even considered, which could be helpful in return. And even if there's no possible solution for something, taking away the emotional load itself will lighten you up very much. And additionally, try to maintain a sense of hope and optimism. It doesn't mean being unrealistically positive, but rather believing that you can find a way through the challenges. Look for any silver linings or opportunities for growth that might come from that situation. Sometimes the toughest time can lead to the most significant personal development. And sometimes, even if you can't see any positive movement at that point, just trying to look at the whole thing on the positive side, which might ease you into feeling lighter. And when you are in a better mindset, you might be able to come up with something unexpected, which could be very helpful for you in that moment. Lastly, give yourself grace. Understand that it's okay to struggle and that you don't have to have all the answers right away. Be patient with yourself as you work through the difficulties. It is a journey, and every step you take, no matter how small, is a progress. To wrap up, when everything seems to be going against you, remember these key points. Life storms can be fierce. Be patient, but with these strategies, you can navigate through them and come out stronger on the other side. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope today's episode has provided you with some valuable insights and encouragement. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and share it with your friends or families who might benefit from it. And remember, no matter how tough things get, you have the strength to persevere. Until next time, stay strong, stay resilient, and take care. Goodbye. Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you enjoyed it, do like and share it with your friends and family and drop me a comment on YouTube. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please leave me a review. If you're on Spotify, please rate my show. Alternatively, any questions or feedback, feel free to email me at hello@incthoughts.com or send me a private message on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter with the username of IncThoughtsPod. Thanks again and catch you all next week.